All right, hi. So now we're going to be talking about limited prep events. So the first and most basic limited prep event that you will see in a speech tournament is impromptu speaking. And it's just like the title says, it's going to be a short, on-the-fly, 5-minute speech that is only given 2 minutes of prep beforehand. This is probably one of the only rounds that you will really need to make sure that you know your time signals and the certain structures that need to go in place before a speaker starts. So if a speaker would like to provide their own timer, they may just remember to record their times because it's very important to see how much they're able to extend on a topic. Remember, there are no materials allowed to aid the speaker during their speech. That includes any prep work that they have brought with them. They can only write down their thoughts and then speak off the fly on whatever they have on the top of their head. So for round structure, the speaker is provided with their topic list. Typically, it's 3 topics at the beginning of their prep time, and they can only choose one topic as the topic of their speech. After prep time, they must return the topic list to you to make sure that you have good reference, and please make sure that they give you the topic that they have chosen to help you judge their speech. Speakers then perform a 5-minute speech with a 10-second grace period. This means they have 10 seconds. They can stop 10 seconds short or go 10 seconds over without being docked anything in their round. So what to look for when you're judging impromptu is both the performance and the content, and these two must go hand in hand, but you could judge them separately to make sure and differentiate between speakers. So for performance, you really want to make sure that the speaker is confident. They shouldn't give away any indication that they have only been given 2 minutes to prep on this. They should carry themselves well and speak with very little stutters or pauses, and make sure the speak flows and connects with the audience in a certain way, so that way you feel like they've written the speech beforehand and that they're able to perform it seamlessly. On content, the speech should have a certain structure. They shouldn't be random ideas, and they should be flowing together in a creative way. The more creative the speaker, the better the speech. It exercises their thinking on their feet, and it makes their speech more interesting. These 2 points must work together for the speaker to be successful, and this is very important to emphasize because without these 2 indications of what a good speaker is, their speech will fall flat.
All right, our second limited prep event is known as extemporaneous speaking, but you also might see it referred to as IX or NX. IX stands for International Extemp and focuses on international topics, while NX stands for National Extemp and focuses on domestic topics. At some tournaments, these are separate events. At some, they're the same. It just kind of depends. So extemp is a 7-minute speech that is answering a current events question, and similar to impromptu, it's prepped in the minutes beforehand. However, this one is written and memorized in the 30 minutes prior to speaking as opposed to 2. Just like impromptu, you're not allowed to have any notes or speaking aids while you're in round and presenting their speech. However, unlike other events, it will just be you, the judge, and one speaker in the room at a time since the other speakers are off prepping. So just don't be surprised if it looks a little bit different than your other rounds. Your round time also might start a little later than the other judges because of the prep time. Again, this might not always happen, but just don't be surprised if it looks a little different. Before the speaker starts speaking, make sure to discuss time signals with them. They might prefer to time themselves, but be ready to give them signals. And then there's a 30-second grace period, but no minimum time requirement. So how to judge extemp? There are a couple of main factors you should be looking for. The most important and biggest one is the quality of their analysis. Second is their evidence. Are their source citations recent and relevant? And a combination of those 2 is asking yourself if they're just repeating what the evidence says or if they're actually analyzing it and sharing their own thoughts on it. Next is organization. Does the order of the speech make sense? And then next is presentation and speaking skills, things like fluency, hand gestures, transitions, and eye contact. This is considered slightly less important than other speeches since it's a more analysis-based one, but should still definitely be considered. Extemp can focus on advocacy for one side of a topic or be purely informational, just as long as it has that good analysis. And one more important thing for extemp especially is that it frequently covers really controversial topics, and to try not to let your personal opinions affect how you judge. Make decisions on how well the speaker presents their stance, even if it doesn't agree completely with yours. But of course, this applies to all other speeches, not just extemp. And then finally, let's talk about time signals. So some speakers might prefer to time themselves, but in impromptu and extemp, you should always be willing and ready to give them time signals. Time signals are also sometimes requested in prelim rounds for prepared speeches like originals and interpretations, but they shouldn't be used during semifinal or final rounds. However, even if you're not giving people time signals, you should still make sure to time. You want to use that for your own personal information that kind of affects how you judge. You just won't need to signal the speaker. If you are doing time signals, every minute you hold up how many minutes they have left. For example, if 4 minutes have passed in an extemp speech, hold up a 3. Or if 8 minutes have passed in an interpretation, you can hold up a 2. During the last minute, there are a couple of extra signals. You can hold up a C shape with your hand when there are 30 seconds left, and then you can count down from 10 on your fingers for the last 10 seconds. After that, the grace period begins, and then if they go over, you start deducting points.